Hello, welcome to Little Likac podcast. This is episode 7 of my podcast and my name is Amanda and I am on Ravelry as Likac66. I'm on Instagram as Little Likac Yarn. I'm on Etsy as Little Likac Yarn and you can email me at littlelikac@gmail.com. So welcome to my podcast. This is a knitting podcast, although I sometimes talk a little bit about crochet as well, but it's mostly knitting. And you are very, very welcome here. If you have been with me before, thank you so much for returning and joining me again. And if you are a new viewer, you are so welcome. Thank you so much for having a look at my podcast. And obviously I've got a few more episodes up, so if you like today's, then please do take a look back at some of my other podcasts and you can see where I've come from and what I've been doing. And obviously subscribe. If you subscribe, then you get a notification when each time I upload a video. So yes, thank you very much. I think I'm nearly at 300 subscribers now, which is amazing. Really, it's been like a little flurry of new subscribers in the last week or so. So not quite sure what prompted that. Don't know. Something got mentioned on another podcast or anything like that, but you are really, really welcome. We are hosting a make along at the moment, so I'll be talking a little bit more about that in today's episode. So what have I got for you today? I'm going to give you a little bit of a life update because the last couple of weeks have been quite dominated by something in our family. So there will be a bit of a life update because that's also had perhaps a bit of a knock-on effect on some of the other things in my knitting. I've got some whips. I have got one major finished object, quite a few new cast-ons. Going to do an update on the make-along, including some new prizes to add into the giveaways for the make-along. And I've got a few things for acquisitions as well, so lots to get through. You are, as I say, settle down, grab a cup of coffee or a glass of wine or a glass of gin, whatever takes your fancy. You're knitting, you crochet, and join me. I always aim to be around about 45 minutes for this podcast, so we'll see, hopefully stick to about that time. And yeah, welcome to us. Right, so yes, I'm going to start with a little bit of a life update because, as I say, that then kind of leads into a few other things that have happened this week or this last 2 weeks since I saw you last. So when I podcast last time, it was exactly 2 weeks ago. Today is Friday the 9th of July. And when I podcast 2 weeks ago on that Friday evening, I had a text message in the afternoon that my father-in-law had a little bit of a fall or a trip in his garden and had gone to A&E. And obviously I was concerned, but not majorly concerned because, you know, he was conscious and he was a bit sore and a bit bruised. And, well, my father-in-law, I love him to bits, but, you know, it's not unusual for him to have a little bit of a fall or a trip every so often. He is blind, or about 90% blind. And so, you know, but it's always good that he gets checked out at the hospital, and 9 times out of 10, as I say, 9 times out of 10 it's nothing serious, and even when it has been something serious, he always, you know, just gets on with it and recovers, and it's all good. So I wasn't too worried 2 weeks ago. But then over that weekend we found out or heard that he had got an injury in his neck, so obviously that was concerning. And then the more we heard about this injury, the worse it got to a certain degree. He had no spinal damage, but quite serious injury to the bones in his neck. I won't go into detail in case people are squeamish, and it is pretty gross. Anyway, so that weekend obviously I was very, very worried about him. I was doing Newark Market, taking my aunt to Newark Market, and I ummed and ahed should I go or not. I decided to go anyway. Because there wasn't much I could do at home, and we obviously with COVID restrictions we couldn't go and visit, and we didn't really know what was going on. So I went to the market, which was actually a good thing to do, I think. It was busy, I was busy, had a really nice day actually from a market point of view, and I took my socks, my June Rainbow Chronicles socks with me. Because if you remember from the last episode, I had a bit of a deadline to meet with that, and I was going to knit that much of those socks that day, that much of those socks that day, and I was on it. So after I'd spoken to you guys on the Friday evening, I carried on knitting like that evening, knitted on the Saturday, and Sunday at the market. The plan was I needed to finish the gusset by the end of that day, and I was working my way through that. And I got home on that Sunday evening, and I had been quite stressed about my father-in-law and a few other things that had happened. And I started unpacking the boxes, and I realised I couldn't find those socks. Could not find those socks. And it sounds so stupid. It was just a pair of socks. You know, far more important things had happened that weekend, but that was the thing that tipped me over. I was so upset at losing those socks. So upset. And I think it was because when I'd been stressing and worrying, I had just got those socks out and just focused on those. And you know, the part of the Sock Chronicles, part of that, you know, I was going to have those finished by the 30th of June. That was in my control. I think that's what it was about, actually, you know. That was in my control. Other things that were going on were out of my control, but those socks were in my control, and I was going to finish them. And yeah, it sounds crazy talking about it, but I know you guys will get this. I know you'll get it. So I do not have a finished object to show you for my June socks from the Rainbow Sock Chronicles, the turquoise striped ones I was working on, because they are lost. They got left at the market. I did post on Facebook one of those local spotted pages, and you know, put a picture of the project bag, and but I guess for most people they would just see it as knitting and just toss it in the bin and not think of it as anything important. So I don't have the Rainbow Sock Chronicles June socks to show you, but more importantly, much more importantly, my father-in-law, after about a week of us not knowing what they were going to do, and I think the hospital not really sure what they were going to do, they decided to offer the chance for him to have, or the choice for him to have an operation, quite a serious operation, and he decided he wanted to have the operation because it was better than lying in a hospital bed, not being able to move very much. He wasn't paralysed, but he was really limited on what he could do. Anyway, he had the operation this week. It was really, really traumatic and emotional for us. We were really scared of him having this serious operation, many, many hours under anaesthetic at his age, in his 80s. He was in theatre for over 8 hours, but he made it, and he has the operation was successful, and he will be coming out of hospital very soon, and life has just got so much better. I put a post on Instagram actually about how in times of crisis turning to our knitting and our crafting is somehow soothing. Although interestingly, I found it very, very difficult to concentrate on any one thing for very long. So you will see that I did cast on quite a few new things in the last couple of weeks, and I think that was partly it. Just to give me something different to focus on, something different to think about, because the last couple of weeks have been hard. I know that some people as well offered prayers and thoughts and really lovely messages to me and my family in this last couple of weeks, so I really, really thank you for that. And I do believe that, I really do believe actually, that some of those prayers and some of those thoughts and good vibes certainly helped, and so thank you if you were thinking of us, because it was tricky. Okay, so that kind of explains why my finished objects are slightly less than I originally had planned, because the June Rainbow Sock Chronicles have gone. They've gone, and I've got to live with that. So that one finished object that I really was sure I was going to have for you, I have not got. I have been working on my Rad Vent Throw, which is for my Christmas make-along. I've actually put them into a Christmas bag now. So cute. Don't think I showed you that last time. Maybe I did. So they're in my one of my Christmas bags, and I have completed. So the plan for me for the Christmas in July make along was to get at least 4 of these squares. No, 6 of these squares completed by the end of July. And so no, 4 by the end of July, to get caught up basically. So this one is finished, so I'm counting it as a finished object whenever I finish one of these squares. So this is the Rad Vent Throw by Amber O'Brien, and this yarn is the Stormy Skies colourway from Little Likac, and and I knitted a pair of socks for my husband, and he's got them now. He even asked for them the other day. She went, by the way, what happened to my socks? And I went, oh, they're just there actually, because I took them to the market with me so I could show people how the yarn knitted up. And I was like, oh yeah, you can have them now. And he's worn them 2 days in a row, so it's lovely to know that he appreciates my socks. So that one is finished, and I am already a good over halfway through the next square as well. Ooh, over halfway through the next one. So I am working on these, get at least one square a week done in July, and then I will be on track. That is this one here, so I'll talk about that in just a minute. Okay, so that is one of my finished objects. And then the other major finished object, as you can see, I finished my summer sorrel. I love it, I love it, I love it. I really do absolutely love this. So the Summer Sorrel Tea by Wool & Pine. I haven't written down who it's by actually, the pattern, Wool & Pine I think it is. Finished this, finished the sleeves, and I love it. So I'm going to try and stand up. No, I'm not going to try and... I'm going to try and stand up a little bit so you can see the fade. This is not going to work very well, I think. I'm going to disappear up. Oh, maybe. There we are. So now you can see the bottom half. I need to block it actually because the ribbon keeps folding up. So if I go like that, and back down. Right, so there you go. There is the fade of the Summer Sorrel. I love this. So the top yarn is a yarn from Mr. and Mrs. Rabbit that I bought last year. I think it's called Violet or something like that. And it's mostly white with some purple. Then we go into a yarn that I dyed myself. It hasn't got a colourway or anything like that because I just dyed it for this. Although I have done a similar colourway that I haven't put in the shop yet. We'll be going in the shop this week, I think. And then the very bright pink was a mystery yarn that I picked up in a D-stash. So it's a real mix match of yarn bases, but that didn't matter. It was about the colours going well, and I think they do go really nicely. So I absolutely love it. The yoke is quite complicated to do because you're trying to do short rows, fade, and these dip stitches as they call them at the same time. So it takes quite a bit of concentration getting the yoke done. But once the yoke is done and you've split for the sleeves, it's just knitting. You knit it inside out at that point, so you are just knitting in the round because obviously you wear it with the purl side out, but once you get past the yoke you knit it inside out, so you're knitting it with the knit. Okay, so that is my main finished object. I hope you love it as much as I do. Love it, I love it, I love it. It's so my colours, pinks and purples. Well, purple is my main colour, and then pinks and purples, I just love them together. So I'm really happy with this. And every time I wear it, well, it's the first time I've worn it properly, but every time I look at it, it just makes me smile. So that is the major project finished. Now, whips then, works in progress. The school jumper. I said that I hoped at this point I would have the front and sleeve finished and be just working on picking up the stitches for the neckline and sewing it together. Not quite at that stage, but it's not bad. So, the front is nearly finished. So, I finished up one edge of the front and now I'm on the other edge of the neck on the front. You can see this stitch marker here is where I was up to last time. So I've got that amount done and then that. So now I've got this side of the front to do and then sleeve to finish. So it's coming along. I am going to put it out there that this will be finished the next time I podcast. There you go, 2 weeks time, a fortnight. I'm putting it out there that that will be finished. So that will be the next thing that I really focus in on to get finished. The last 2 weeks it was this. So that's the only whip that I've got from last time, I think, actually, because everything else is finished or lost. So I have allowed myself to cast on some new projects in the last fortnight since I saw you. The first one I cast on, I put on my Instagram story actually, a poll: should I cast on the ranunculus or the cable vest that I was going to do? And actually it was really close, 50-50. And the ranunculus came up as the winner, but actually at that point I hadn't wound the yarn or anything into cakes, so it was quicker and easier for me to start this. And as I said earlier, I just needed projects that I could get on with quickly. So the yarn I'm using for this project is the Jaeger Extra Fine Merino Aran, and this was the yarn that I picked up in a charity shop a couple of months ago, 50p a ball. And I've cast on, not got an awful lot done, but I have cast on the back. As you start with the back of this vest, I think you do the back, then come round, do the front 2 bits, then join in the round. So cast that on. It is quite thick yarn, it's 100% wool, so it's quite warm weather for knitting that at the moment, but I think again, once I get to the point where it's joined in the round, it will be relatively quick to knit. So that is the I've written down the Mondo Cable Shell Vest by Chic Knits, or Bon Marie Burns, I think is the name of the designer. So that was the first thing that I cast on this last couple of weeks. I also said to you then that I was going to cast on a dress for my niece's baby, and this was the pattern. Done the classic knitting podcast thing of not taking things out of plastic packets. So there's major rustling. There's going to be some major rustling coming up soon. Actually, I've got to take some things out of tissue paper. But this is the pattern. Really sweet little dress with sleeves. The sleeves are attached to this dress. That's specifically what my niece asked for her daughter, was a long sleeve dress. And because she has sensitive skin, I'm knitting it in cotton. So I have done one sleeve. Fly is very irritating, isn't it? So I've done one sleeve in the stripes. It's not stripy yarn, I'm using different balls of yarn. It's cotton, and I think those colours are coming out really nicely. So I've done that sleeve, and I just literally cast on part of the tunic last night, so partly so that you can see how these colours are going to work. So the main part of the dress is going to be in this beautiful teal, and then the sleeves are in these stripes. So that's great, and that's got to be finished by the end of July, because we're going to see, well, fingers crossed, we're going to see her in August, and we're travelling down to the West Country at the beginning, 1st of August. So I need to have that finished so that it's all sewn up and ready to give to her then. So I'll be working on that heavily over the next couple of weeks. The school jumper as well is also cotton. So the only trouble is sometimes when you're working on cotton a lot, it can be quite hard on your hands. So I have found that particularly with that stripy, the cotton I was using to do those stripes, it was quite hard on my hands. So Bryony's dress is cast on. The school jumper, the cable vest is cast on. And then for the ranunculus, I did then get round to caking up the yarns. So if you remember, if you saw the podcast 2 weeks ago, the plan was to use 2 lace weight yarns. This beautiful 100% silk, and I have to say I love it in the cake like this. How beautiful does that look? And then this 100% merino lace weight. So I decided to swatch that, and I swatched it first. I couldn't find any 6mm needles. It's always typical, isn't it? Whatever you need. I've got so many needles, but I could not find any 6mm needles or tips for my interchangeables. So I thought I'll try it on 5.5mm, because I've got 5.5mm. Well, that was way too small. The gauge was way too small. So then I've got 7mm needles, so I thought, right, I'll try it on the 7mm. And the gauge is right in respect for the number of stitches per for the 10 centimetres, but I'm thinking it's just too loose. And I was wondering, maybe, having said last week I wasn't sure about using mohair, that I don't know how I feel about mohair. I was thinking maybe I'm going to have to add mohair. So I put this to one side while I decide about it, and ordered some 6mm tips as well. I ordered some 6 and 6.5mm tips, which have come in the same as these, Knit Pro Symphony. I love using the wooden needles. So I am going to re-swatch because it just looks to me too holy. I'm not sure that I like the just how thin that's going to be. I do like the colours of it though, but I'm going to show you in a minute, because I was thinking, shall I add mohair? Shall I buy some mohair? What shall I do? I took part in a wool swap with a friend, and so I will show you in a minute, because something arrived in that package that could just work perfectly. But before I show you that, the last thing to show you is, last podcast I talked for 2-3 minutes about how I was going to cast on for July's Rainbow Sock Chronicles purple, and I showed you 2 different purple yarns, which one was I going to use, and then somebody very kindly pointed out in the comments below that the colour for July for the purple Rainbow Sock Chronicles isn't purple, the colour is blue. August is purple, so that's fine. We know what we're doing for August. The purple yarn and the lavender fields pattern will be for August. And so, ta-da! Here is the blue that I will be using. And I was waiting for the Curious Handmade, Curious Handmade, the Handmade Sock Society pattern to come out, which came out yesterday, and I do like it. It's called Scribbly Gum, and I think it's cuffed down. I need to double check. I think it is cuffed down though, because I don't do toe-up socks. So I think I will be using this for the Scribbly Gum socks from Helen Stewart. The yarn is from Mr. and Mrs. Rabbit. It's called Doors. It's really, really pretty blue tonal semi-solid, and so that will be cast on in July for the July rainbow socks. Not purple but blue. So yes, those are my new cast-ons, and the next cast-on that will definitely get cast on for July. But as I was saying, for the ranunculus, I need to add something else in to this yarn because it's not working as it is. So, Wool Swap. If you've not heard of Wool Swap, it is organised by somebody in Australia, I think, and you sign up, you pay a registration fee, and she matches you with a partner. And I was matched with a lovely lady in the UK. I asked for another UK match-up, and she is very similar to me. She is a teacher, and we have quite similar tastes in colours and things like that, so shopping for her was quite easy. She received the package I sent her last week and messaged me to say she'd got it and loved everything, and her package to me arrived this week, and it is amazing. It is amazing. So I'm going to show you what she sent me. Excuse the rustling, but actually even the tissue paper it's wrapped in is awesome. So we'll start firstly actually with the edible goodies, some yummy chocolate. So you do ask your partner what kind of things they like, and I said I love chocolate, particularly dark chocolate, so they look gorgeous. So some nice chocolate. Little notebook from the Lake District, so notebooks are always useful for us knitters. A really, really cute little notions pouch. Love the flowers on there, really sweet. And inside the notions pouch is some fruit tea. So again, she asked me about tea and things, and I said actually I don't drink normal tea, proper tea. Some people say don't like it, but I do like fruit teas. So she got me a lovely little selection of fruit teas. Excuse me. There was also a little needle set, darning needles, but I've already taken that out because I used that for sewing the ends in on here last night. Little tape measure to go in my notions pouch. the most gorgeous little pen. I love this. Can you see this llama pen? That's just so cute. And it's actually an erasable pen as well, so it's got like a little rubber bit on the end, and can you see that? I don't know if that will be back to front. No problema. Anyway, llama. Anyway, isn't that cute? It is so, so cute. I love. So when we're going on holiday actually in August down in Somerset, my husband pointed out that there is an alpaca farm and a yarn shop in the village where we're staying, or the village next door. So we will definitely be taking a trip to the alpaca farm and the yarn shop that's there, because if they've got a yarn shop at an alpaca farm, we all know what kind of yarn they're going to be selling there. Yes. So that'll definitely be being visited when we're away. So yes, gorgeous little pen, a notebook, etc. All really, really cute. Oh yeah, a stitch counter. I have got one of these before. They're really useful little one that you can just sort of strap onto your finger, electronic little stitch counter. So that's very, very useful. Thank you very much. Then there was, oh, there's a little cloud. Oh, there's the needle. There's the needles. Yeah, so little set with darning needles in. That's cute. And this is just a cute little, I suppose, paperweight really. And it says, be a rainbow in someone else's cloud. I'm quite confused as to why that's back to front, because I swear when I showed the yarn label that wasn't back to front. Oh, it is. It is back to front. That's really weird. I just read it without even realising it was back to front, I think. Anyway, be a rainbow in someone else's cloud, that says. So it's a cute little kind of like paperweight. Really sweet. So, oh yes, I haven't even got to the yarn yet. So when I opened the box, it smelt gorgeous. Everything in the box smelt beautiful. And this is why, because inside this is a beautiful slice of handmade soap. Smells lovely. Grapefruit and poppy seed. And so everything in the package smells of this soap, and it just smells lovely. I need to do a proper photo of it all as well to post on Instagram. So then the yarn she sent me, so we agreed on a certain amount of money we would spend on buying things, and then we also agreed on a couple of things from our stash as well. So this is firstly some yarn from her stash. Now this first one, it's just so me. I mean, I'm not being funny. Look at what I'm wearing. And then, look at that. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Gorgeous lollipop stitch marker with it. So this is from Cuddle Bums, and the lady I swapped with, Helen, said that Cuddle Bums was one of her favourite indie dyers, and I've had stuff from Cuddle Bums before, always really lovely quality. So, and it is 70% merino, 30% silk, so it's just beautiful, and the colourway is called Curiosity. But I just can't believe how similar it is really to this yarn that I dyed for the Summer Sorrel. So that was from her stash, and oh, it's just so me. Look at it. Look at it, look at it. Thank you, thank you. And then the other one that she sent from her stash, this is lovely as well. Absolutely gorgeous. Can you see it shining where it's got stellina? It's sparkly, and it's yellows and pinks. Now, the label had come off this, but she said that it is from Rosie's Moments is the dyer, and I want to call this something like Sherbet Fizz or something like that, I think, especially with the sparkle. So that is just lovely, absolutely gorgeous. So those were a gift from her stash. Look at them, even the tissue paper is just so cute, just so cute. My daughter was eyeing that up. Right, and then in here was the yarn that she bought for me. So, having sat there and thinking, shall I buy some mohair to go with the ranunculus? I don't know. Shall I, shan't I? What did she send me? 2 skeins of purple mohair. I know, right? So, what do we think? Do we think that would work with that? I think it probably would. I'm going to give it a try. 2 skeins of purple mohair. So I think I'm going to try that. I don't know whether to put both of these and that together. Not sure. But anyway, so I'm going to give it a try and see. But so yeah, lovely, gorgeous. So this is from the Yarn Garden, and it's lace weight, and it is 75% mohair, 25% nylon. How serendipitous that she sent me that as I was contemplating whether to use mohair with my ranunculus or not. It's got to be a sign, hasn't it? It's got to be a sign. I've had lots of good signs this week. Okay, so that was my goodies from Wool Swap. Aren't they amazing? So if you thought about doing Wool Swap, this is my first experience of it. I would recommend it. As I say, you do have to pay a registration fee, and then you agree on an amount to spend on your partner, with your partner. So you know, if you want to spend loads of money, you could, but I think what really worked well with me and Helen was that we agreed an amount to spend on new items, but we've both got a big stash and both had things in our stash that the other person would like, so that worked really, really well, I think. So thank you Helen, love all of those gifts. Just beautiful. Okay, just going to stroke that one again. Right, so talking of stash, etc., I'm going to put at the end of the video, at the end of this week's podcast, a bit of video I took at the weekend actually of me sorting through my stash. So I decided, because I wanted, what was I looking for? Oh, I know what it was. My daughter, my 18-year-old, the one the school jumper is for, has started, she's learnt how to crochet in the last couple of weeks. And she'd done a few granny squares and a bit of practice, and then she wanted to actually crochet a garment. And I knew that I had got quite a bit of cotton in my stash, but it was all over the place. So at the weekend, I got my stash out of the garage and kind of went through and pulled out any cotton that I thought she might be able to use. And I also bought her this as well, because I thought, well, she's got a project on the go, she needs a project bag. She's 18, so I thought, you know, let's not get her anything too old-fashioned. How amazing is this? A Deadpool project bag. And this is from the same seller on Etsy that I often talk about on here, Amelia X Joy. She's got such a range of fabric. So Deadpool project bag for my 18-year-old daughter. But anyway, so at the end of the video I will show you, or I'll put on the video at the end of me going through the boxes of my stash. I don't actually show that much of my stash. There's a few bits that I kind of pulled out and showed, but you can just see the amount of it. But when I was going through my stash, that was the other thing I wanted to look for, was I knew I'd got a few things that I thought would be good to add into the Christmas make-along giveaway. So our Christmas in July make-along, if you are participating in that, thank you very much. There are some posts on Instagram I have seen that people have come over onto the Ravelry thread and started adding things onto there, which is brilliant. So our hashtag for anything on Instagram is LL for Little Likac, LL Christmas in July, MAL for make along. And it's a make along because it can be knit or crochet. And Christmas in July, I am being really, really vague about this in respect that you can link it to Christmas however you like. However you like. So somebody's making a jumper that they're planning on wearing at Christmas. Somebody else is making an actual sort of more like a Christmas jumper. Somebody popped in the Ravelry thread yesterday a pair of socks that she has said are a Christmas present for herself. And she said, does that count? And I went, absolutely it counts. So any link. My project is, because it's the Rad Vent Throw, which is a pattern that is designed for using advent calendars. So if you're using a pattern that's designed for advent calendars, even if you're not using an advent calendar, that's fine, but the pattern is. The pattern name has anything to do with Christmas or anything Christmassy or wintry. If the yarn name is anything Christmassy or wintry. If it is a Christmas present for somebody, if it's a Christmas present for yourself, if it's got snowflakes on it, whatever, there's no knitting police here. And there's no make-along police on this one, okay? If you can link it to Christmas or winter, go for it. It's just about having a bit of fun, having a bit of community, and you never know, if you enter it in with the hashtags on Instagram, or if you put it in the thread on Ravelry, you will be entered for the giveaway prize or prizes. And that, at the moment, we have the bag with the sheep in Christmas jumpers, which I still think is super cute. Okay, so that bag is the first part of the prize. And then I had a look in my stash to look for some yarn that I thought had Christmassy colours. And I have this, which I think I've always planned on, actually. I had planned on knitting Christmas socks with this yarn. I'm going to be honest, I do not know if it's self-striping or whether it's just going to be variegated. I don't know. I think it could be stripy. It is from Dye Spin Knit UK, and it was from a sock club quite a few years ago. Alright, so it has been in my stash a little while, I will be honest about that, but I do think it's quite Christmassy colours. The red, the white and the green and the blue, so it's Christmassy colours. And I'm going to put with it as well this. It's another one of my mystery ones. Dun, dun, dun. Now this does feel quite rustic, but it could work quite well for heels and toes. Maybe heels, toes and cuffs with this. This one's much softer. This one's more rustic. So I'm going to put those together, and they are part of our giveaway for the a prize for our Christmas make-along. And then I've been waiting for these to arrive. I thought as well that I would do some stitch markers, make some stitch markers myself to go into the giveaway. So I've been waiting for these charms to arrive, and I'm really pleased with them. They're lovely, actually. And what I've made, and I've not even had a chance to put them onto a proper one of my little cards yet. I'm going to do a few sets of these and pop these in the shop, actually. I know it's a bit early, but I'll bung them in the shop anyway. So you get a progress keeper. So you get a progress keeper in the red enamel, and I've got a couple of different other colours, and then you also get 4 silver trees on stitch markers on rings. So you get the progress keeper and the 4 stitch markers, and I thought that would be a really nice little set, because I actually quite like to have both progress keeper for actually tracking my progress or to mark maybe where I've done decreases or something like this, and then stitch markers. And I find that quite often you in sets, it's either a set of progress keepers or a set of stitch markers, and I personally think, I always thought, well, why don't they do both? I want a progress keeper and stitch markers that match. So I've been doing a few of those in my shop, so this one will be part of the giveaway prize as well. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with that having stitch markers and progress keeper together on a theme is so they are, you can see them there. So I will get that carded up properly so it all looks nice, etc. But that's going to be part of the prize as well. So I've got a couple more weeks still to go on the make along. There may be another prize or two added with this before then, we shall see. I haven't got anything else in my head at the moment. Maybe a pattern. So I might have a look at Christmas pattern. Oh, my friend did a gingerbread shawl. Maybe I might add that into a pattern to go with it. Okay, so stitch markers, 2 skeins of yarn, and that project bag could be yours if you enter our Christmas in July make along. Can you hear that rain? I'm just going to close the door. I'm in the garden office and you can hear the rain coming down there. Oh, one last thing to show you before I finish as well, actually. This should have been in my acquisitions. So obviously I'm knitting that little dress for my great niece don't like saying great niece, my niece's daughter. And when I was looking for patterns, I came across this pattern as well, another King Cole one, which I thought was quite sweet, and I thought, oh, I'll get that pattern as well, because I might do this one for her for Christmas. So again, long sleeve tunic. Also thought that looks like quite a good stash buster as well. And it's got quite a lot of sizes, 18 to 28 inch. So 18 inches, what, about 12 months, 6 to 9 months. It goes all the way up to 7 or 8 years. So that's quite a cute little pattern for a dress. And what I love about King Cole is quite a lot of their patterns, you get more than one item. So on the back, the other pattern is this little cardigan as well. So may well do that tunic as well, that dress as well, for my niece's daughter, maybe for Christmas. Okay, I think I'm having a quick look around because everything's out all over the floor. I'm just going to pick this up again, stroke it again because it's so lovely. I think that is it for me. So I'm at about 40 minutes. I've got a few minutes of video to stick on the end of me having a sort of my stash and all the boxes. By the way, that stash that you can see does not include my sock yarn. There is about another tub's worth of sock yarn, the equivalent of one of those tubs, but that's actually in the house because I tend to grab the sock yarn more frequently. So that does not include my sock yarn. Imagine another one of those tubs, and that's actually stashed away in the cupboard in the house. So I will leave it there. If you have got this far, thank you so much for sticking with me and joining me this evening. I hope you've enjoyed looking at my projects, and please do come and interact with me on Instagram. Follow me, and I'll follow you back and see what you're making as well, or join us on the Ravelry thread. There is a What's on Your Needles thread, so if you don't want to join in the make along, if you can't find a tenuous way to link it to Christmas, and trust me, like I say, I'm pretty easy going over this, but if you can't find a tenuous way to link it to Christmas and you just want to show us what you're working on anyway, there is a What's on Your Needles thread in the Ravelry group as well. So feel free just to pop onto there and post a picture of something you're working on. I would love to see it. So yes, hope you're enjoying Christmas in July. I know there's quite a lot of people doing different Christmas July make-alongs, so join in with us as well. Double dip, triple dip, quadruple dip. I'm not fussed. Alright, it's all just about having a bit of fun. So enjoy the next couple of weeks, and I will see you again soon. Bye. Good morning. So it's Sunday morning, the 4th of July, and I've decided to have a go at trying to sort out my stash in the garage. I'll just show you really the amount I have got stacked away in the garage. So there's a bag there that is full of, I think, mostly acrylic. And then we've got a box there of all sorts. Some of the boxes were kind of sorted last year into DK weight, Aran weight, etc. But it all needs going through again. I know I've got some things as well, such as this has got moth damage, which I discovered last year, but I still kind of just left it. But I think I'm going to go through it and possibly have to throw it away. I hate throwing stuff away though. Hence the reason for my huge stash. Right, I'll let you know how I get on. Okay, so this is interesting. I thought this had loads and loads of moth damage, but it turns out that only that ball has definitely been chewed at. But what I've now discovered is that so many of these balls have got knots in. Really loads. I can't see any now, can I? But what I thought perhaps were ends sticking out from where they've been chewed on turns out to be knots. So I'm not particularly impressed that something that's described as luxury, look at this one, 2 knots. Something that's described as luxury has got knots and knots and knots. That's where I started swatching something a long time ago. So actually 9 out of the 10 of these balls I think is fine. I might reskein it and see actually how far through the ball the damage goes on that one. So maybe about 9.5 balls. But yeah, a lot of knots in that yarn. Take a look at these. These are massive hanks of Manos Maxima. So you can just see how big they are when I hold my hand. But actually what they are, I think there's 10 skeins all bundled up together. So I've bought it, and then I think I've had it in my head that it's chunky, and it's not actually. I think it's like an Aran weight, and definitely going to use this one. Definitely going to use this one soon. Not sure about this one yet, but aren't they amazing? Okay, so it might be hard to believe, but this is actually a reduction. So I've got 4 of these really big tubs still. Then we've got some smaller tubs. That bag is full of mostly full balls of acrylic, kind of like Stylecraft Special for crochet. But that box is empty. I might transfer that into that because it might be better for stacking. I'll have to go and have a look and see if we can fit it all back into the garage. It is sorted. There is still some things that I probably could get rid of, should get rid of, but I don't know if you can see in there, those are all, that's all complete sort of project size amounts. That's very much scrappy stuff, toys, things like that. There's a whole blanket project in there that maybe I'll talk about one day on the podcast. Down there again, more full projects, but quite a lot of sweaters worth qualities. I also managed to put some stuff together where I think I can try and do some colour work and put together some colours of the same yarn that I've got and things. So yeah, I don't know if it's made me feel better or not, but anyway, had a good go, had a good sort out. Found a couple of things to add into the giveaway for the Christmas make along, and yeah, okay, well, I've got a better idea again of what I've got in here, and maybe some more of it will get used.